Okay. Maybe this is my handwriting. It's wonderful. Okay. Um, Today is part 1, 25th of 6, 2025. Okay, so we have to discuss about the thinking class. Okay. Unlocking equal opportunity. Okay. We have about 6 outlines since we're talking to entrepreneurs. So it must be, of course, outlines. So the first one is context for the concept. Number 2, we have the ancient trade. An ancient trade. Number 3, we'll be looking at the thinking class. Okay, number 4, we'll be looking at equal opportunities. Number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The factory school system. I missed 1. I missed number 4. Okay, the last one, not the least, the act of conversion. Okay, so I'll be expecting us to write it down. I'll be expecting us to be part of the process because the weakest ink is stronger than the strongest memory. So if you want to forget things very fast, try to use your brain all the time to get all the information. Smartest people don't store all the information in their brain. They only know how to get smart people around them. So, and if you're not part of the process, you cannot sustain the outcomes and results. The discipline you form in the process helps you sustain outcomes and results. Without the process, you cannot be transformed, you will reform. So process is very important. It helps you to repeat outcomes and results. So it's very important you write this down, type it on your note because it's going to be a transformational moment. It's going to be a moment of additional value to your life, helping you to become the best version of yourself, the ultimate version of yourself, and the most powerful and strongest version of yourself. So we will be discussing this. And if you have finished writing everything you see on the board, on your note, shall I? You are still writing. You want us to wait for you. Shall wait for me? That is serious. So you have to copy from your neighbor. Copy is allowed. Don't just copy somebody's name. That is the only challenge. It's you to copy the right cat. So there's a class that God has actually created you to be. And most of us, nobody have told us. Most of us are not even aware of it. Most of us don't even know how to work in that class. So since you don't know, you just assume that you are meant to serve, slave, servant. No, there's a class for you. So I want to start this morning from our context for the concept. So let's do this on your notes. Context for the concept. So write on your notes. Those who think and communicate for a living will always be paid more than those who work with their hands for a living. Full stop. Those who think and communicate with their mouth for a living. Those who think and communicate with their mouth for a living will always be paid more than those who work with their hands for a living. Full stop. Those who think with their mind and communicate with their mouth for a living will always be paid more than those who work with their hands for a living. Full stop. Is a normal circumstances. The world reward those who think and communicate more than those who work with their hands. You can work from now to tomorrow The world does not pay you by your effort. They pay by the knowledge behind the effort. Effort is a common denominator. Knowledge is a differentiator. If the world paid those who work with their effort more than those who work with their mind, those that carry down Dangote cement from trailer to warehouse, they would have become the richest men in the world. If the world pays people that work with their strength more than those that work with their mind, the world, those that push people in the market, they would have become the richest people in the world. So those who think with their mind and communicate with their mouth will always and always be paid more than those who work with their hands for a living. So you want to be part of those people who are going to be paid more in the society, is because you have to assume responsibility, stewardship, and authority in your rightful place in Christ Jesus. So the fact is that you want to be paid more in life, you must think and actually communicate more, because that's the class you belong to. You actually belong to the thinking class. How am I sure I belong to the thinking class? I'm going to discuss a lot with you. But for one of the things that will help me better is that you have to understand the ancient trade. We understand how the world, those who created, who built America, those who built the world, from the scriptures, from King Solomon, they all traded invaluable things to get valuable things. So they understand that the physical world you see was either created by the spiritual mind of God. So, and everything that God ever created, he created with his words. And words was just a truly expression of the thought in his heart, in his mind, through sound that makes meaning. So, and one of the things that will make me make a lot of this class interesting is I need to remind us of what we have been sharing, like we repeat it like song in all our classes, that God created three things in Genesis. And God, the first thing God created the creation. Tell not creation. That's the first thing he did. He said, let there be light. There was light. Let there be firmament. There was firmament. Let there be this. There was this. Number two, God created the creatures. They're not creatures. He said, let the earth bring forth its kind. Let the water bring forth its kind. Earth bring pawpaw, banana, pineapple. So God spoke to the creation. The creation actually created the creatures. So let the water bring forth its kind. So God spoke to his what he created, and that one created something else. But when it came to man, God created a creator. Say creator. He said, let us create man in our image and likeness. Tell our image. Tell our likeness. So the image of God is natural. Tell our natural. The likeness of God comes through teaching. Tell our teachings. Tell our trainings. Tell our mentoring. Tell our coaching. So for you to act like God as a creator, so you must understand how God actually created the things that you see. So, and everything you ever see, touch, feel is actually created by man. Your chair, your shoe, your clothes, man created them. Because those that are assumed to create with their mind, I will show you that all the kings, all the governors, all the presidents, every MD, CEO, royal, men in royalty, those people, they don't work with their hands. They work with their mind and their mouth. In fact, every empire has been built by the order of the king, built by slaves with their hands. So all the empire you see was slaves. A king just sit down, think of an idea, share it with his cabinet, and once they approve it, they order the managers and the implementers to go and implement. So that will get me to ancient trade. That will make a lot of sense. Let's go to the ancient trade. Men that traded things from the ancient world, they understood certain principles. And I will do it like this. So, and I'll write so many things. But before I write, I want to read one particular scripture for us. Why? Because each time I want to talk to entrepreneurs, businessmen, investors, I always find a common ground where everybody can accept. Once we can accept on something, not everything actually, something, then we can start building pillars from there, because by wisdom, the house is built. By understanding, it's established. By knowledge, the house is filled with wisdom and pleasant places and riches. So what happened is that I saw the scripture, it makes so much, it resonates with me. Proverbs 4:7-9, under the ancient trade. Proverbs 4:7-9. Don't worry, I'm going to read it for you. I actually wrote it down. He said that wisdom is a principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. With all thy gettings, get understanding. Exalt her. These two things. She will promote thee. She will bring thee to honor. When thou dost embrace her, she will give thy head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory, and she will deliver thee. So he actually made something about ancient trade. Ancient trade means that the invisible will always give birth to the visible world. So I will do it like this. The invisible will always give birth to the visible world. So if on your thinking, your thought will bring out things, they're not things. Things are put out of thought. So you can never have anything without your thought. Of course, the wisdom will always give you everything else. Wisdom will always give you everything else. Wisdom will give you everything else you can never think. Everything else. That's why when they asked King Solomon, what riches will ever live? What do you want? He said, I want wisdom that I may lead. I might fulfill your purpose on earth. God gave me everything. So the ancient trait is that the root will always bring the fruit. The root or the seeds will always bring the fruit. So you must plant the seeds to get the root. So the ancient trait, number 4, is that they will live in the world of cause and effect. There's a cause, there's an effect. The ancient trait is that actually there's a source and a supply. There's a source and a supply. That is the ancient trait. The ancient trait means that that everything spiritual, number 6 now, that the spiritual always give birth to the physical. Everything I'm versing. So the ancient trait is that ideas give birth to items. I don't like to clean my board, but it's fine. I'll just clean this one small here. So the ancient trait number 7 is that ideas give birth to items. Don't worry, if you don't do it, I'll have to say it. Number 1, the invisible, of course, give birth to the visible world. Everything you see was a product of a thought in the mind of the entrepreneurs. The wisdom always give you everything else you ever want. The root or the seed give birth to the fruit. The cause give birth to the effect. The source give birth to supply. So you have the source, you can always have the supply. You have the source of the water, I have the well, I have the borehole. I can always get water each time I pump it. So a wealthy man understands that he has to trade the invisible to get the visible. But you know, every other person, I always tell you, poor men ask for items. Of course, I have ideas and items. No ideas and items. Okay, here. Okay. Poor men always ask for items, while the wealthy man asks for ideas, and ideas rules the world. So if you understand the ancient trait, you now understand that part of the thinking class is that you should focus on the invisible. You should focus on your thoughts, because those your thoughts will give birth to items you ever want in life. But you know what? When people want, they don't want the thoughts. They want the items. Please bring it down a little bit. Thank you, sir. The way it was fine. So the ancient trait is that you must understand that as a thinking class, there's an area you need to focus your life on. There's an area you need to actually live in. So wisdom is more important than money, riches, houses, land, status, and fame. If I write on your note, wisdom is more important. Wisdom is more important than money, riches, houses, land, status, and fame. You can put as many. Wisdom is more important than money, riches, house, land, status, and fame. But you know what, people? They just want the house. They just want the items. That's why if you give a man book and you give a man, of course, money, he prefers the money than the book. He will not even go and buy the book. Like you put banana in front of a monkey and put $10 billion in front of a monkey. Monkey will carry banana. He doesn't know that $10 billion can buy him banana for the rest of his life. Because if you put a job in front of a graduate of 500,000 naira, put a business opportunity, most graduates will go for your job, 500K. They don't understand that business opportunity give them that money more than for the rest of their life. So the ancient truth is that you can never go for the visible and leave the invisible. You can never go for the supply and leave the source. So you must trade wisdom. You must give everything to go for wisdom, knowledge. Because this is what will make your life. For the knowledge of who you become in the process is more important than the things you get. So in business, who you become is more important than the things you get. So we always tell a man, if you always say that you give a man fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man, give him net and boat, you feed him for a lifetime. Teach him, give him the skills, give him the fish, give him the net, give him the boat, give him the skills, you feed him for a lifetime. So King Solomon, of course, prioritized the root cause of success. He prioritized the root cause of success, and he prioritized the source of endless supply. But King Solomon preferred the root, he preferred the seed than even the fruit, because you can always plant it and patiently wait. That is what poor men don't want. They don't like patience. I told you that patience and delayed gratification is the biggest asset of a wealthy man. Impatient and instant gratification, of course, is the biggest liability of a poor man. They don't like to be patient about process. They want everything. Now. One day I told you that even God had all the power to create everything one day. He still take him 7 days. He had to be patient with the creation process, because to understand the importance of process. King Solomon promote wisdom, understanding, knowledge above every physical symbol of wealth. In fact, knowledge is simply packaged information tailored to solve a problem. Understanding means explanation. Wisdom simply application. But let's write on a note. Let's put it like this. Wisdom, knowledge start from knowledge. Knowledge equals information. So that will make a lot of sense. So this one will give you number one. Number two, understanding. Understanding equals explanation. So you can explain whatever you are given to. That means you understand it. If you cannot teach to someone else, you don't understand it. Number three, wisdom simply means application. So you're supposed to apply everything that you hear that is helping you to become successful. The world will not pay you for the knowledge you acquire, for the trainings you attend, for the teachings you listen to, you participate. But the world will pay you for the knowledge you apply. That means you're a wise person. A wise person must be seen in application. So information you are getting, of course, gathers, package it to solve a problem. Of course, in adequate knowledge. But if you can explain it, that means you understand it. And if you can apply it, that means you're a wise person. So wisdom must be seen in its application. So understanding is, if we prioritize the invisible cost of physical material success, then we'll have the endless supply because we are possession of our sources. So I'm going to show you that you are actually in charge of all the sources of everything that happens to you. That you have the power to change every circumstance you don't like about your life. Before we go to the thinking class, let's write the last thing I just mentioned right now on your note. That is very important. Write it down. If we prioritize the invisible cost of physical material success, if we prioritize here the invisible cost of physical material success, if we prioritize the invisible, everything here, leave this one. This one we added on to you because we prioritize this one. You always get these ones if you value this one. If we prioritize the invisible cost of physical material success, then we always have an endless supply because we are the possession of the source. Full stop. If we prioritize the invisible cost of physical material success, if we prioritize the invisible cost of physical material success, then we'll have the endless supply because we are in possession of the source. So if you prioritize these ones more than these other ones, you always have these other ones because because you're in possession of the source. So why would somebody leave the source and start looking for supply? How would somebody leave the ideas and start looking for items? Because he doesn't know. How would somebody ever prioritize everything and leave wisdom alone? And he doesn't know how to apply some of the things because he just acquired and nobody shows him. Until you have seen a man who have practiced what the knowledge you receive, it's very difficult and challenging to practice because we are social creatures. Men learn faster by observation. So that is how it works. So, but let me show you something that is going to make a lot of sense for us. Because we're going to spend a lot of time here. But that is where you belong to. So it's going to take me a lot of energy to communicate to you effectively so that you understand that there's a class you belong to. And you're a royal priesthood from a holy nation. So until you have resumed that responsibility to take action, stewardship, and authority over your life, men will always rule you. Why? Because this is a man's world. In a man's world, there will always be a king and his slaves. King and subject is a man's world. That's why in the kingdom of God, it's kings of kings, lord of lords. We don't have a lot of slaves, king of slaves. No. Everybody is a king in the kingdom. A king of items, a king of idea, king of a craft, king of resources, a king of an industry, a domain. So the dominion mandate is that you should work in your primary purpose why God created you. Be part of the thinking class. Work with your brain more, with your mouth. Every king rules by decree. Every governor rules by decree. What our present president, did they just assume his mandate? He said, we remove subsidy. Did everybody remove subsidy in Nigeria? Yes. The fact is that he just has to say something. And everybody will go to work. That's how you're supposed to work. But most of us, based on circumstances, we best to define ourselves based on what we are passing through. What we are passing through is not permanent. Every problem has an expiring date. Yes or yes? Yes. All of them. So let's go to where we are going to today, the thinking class. The thinking class, that is where I belong to. Before we even start giving you anything, write it on your note. I am part of the thinking class. How do I put on my notes? Let me put it for you. The way I put it. Say, I am in the thinking class. I belong to the thinking class because I'm made in the image and likeness of God. That's where you belong to. The day I realized that I belong to the thinking class, everything about my life changed. Just like that, one day Gideon was hiding from the Midianites, and the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, "You mighty man of valor," and he believed it. The day Gideon believed that he's a mighty man of valor, everything about his life changed. I told you, believe means accepting as true. So you don't need knowledge to believe, just accept. So they accepted that I'm part of the thinking class, everything about my life changed. So you know what I started doing? I started studying how the thinking class operates. Right? Every thinking class have a vision, have a mission statement, have a core values, have an objectives. So I began to give myself personal objective because you're a personal brand before you become a global brand. Bill Gates is a personal brand before you build a global brand called Microsoft. Mark Zuckerberg is a personal brand before you build Facebook global brand. Dangote is a personal brand before you bring Dangote group of companies, global brand. Richard Branson, personal brand before you build Virgin Advantage. So every great man you see have personal brand. They brand themselves because you are the main essence. Your identity will definitely reflect in your business and your business, whatever you get yourself involved. So you have to write on your note, I belong to the thinking class. I belong to the thinking class because I'm made in the image and likeness of God. I am in the thinking class. I refuse to go anywhere other than that. So if you're written that one down, let's begin to take some notes this morning because I want you to assume your position as a part of the thinking class. So, and I write it like that on your notes, very important. Adam's job was a thinking role. Adam's job was a thinking role. Let me start from the first one so you can understand. Adam's job was a thinking role. Full stop. He did not sow or reap because God planted the garden. He never planted the garden. He did not. God, the Bible said that God planted the garden east of the garden. So God planted the garden for him. Adam's job was a thinking role. His job description was thinking. And I'll prove to you beyond that. And I'll even have to tell you so many things. Of course, the original man, the fallen man, and the redeemed man. So you have to understand who you are. That identity is more important because if I cannot change your identity, I can never change your circumstances. The quality of information you receive, the quality of education you receive, will determine the quality of your life. Adam's job was a thinking job, was a thinking role. Full stop. He never sow or reap. Write on your note, very important. He never sow or reap, plant or harvest, or hunt or kill. He never sow or reap. He never plant or harvest. He never hunt or and kill. He never. I'll prove to you, don't worry. So it was a fallen man that actually was toiling from the sweat of his face. He has to eat. Before the fallen man came, there was the original God's mandate for you and I. But you have been redeemed, so you need to come back to that class. A lot of things happen. That is why it's difficult to help a man who cannot sit down and learn. Because learning is a royal habit. Until you have to learn your way into wealth. You have to learn your way into abundance. There's abundance everywhere. There's no scarcity anywhere. Scarcities are happening when a man fell. So his job was to dress and keep the garden. Write it down. His job was to dress and keep the garden. I'll give you the scriptures. Don't worry. Just follow me. His job was to dress and keep the garden. Categorize and label. That was his job. He was to dress and keep, categorize and label. That was his job. So if that was his job, we need to come back as an entrepreneur, as a businessman. So because I'm talking to entrepreneurs today. I'm talking to men that says, I don't want to live all my life on salary. I don't want to live my life collecting another man's pay. So that for you to come out of that rat race, there's a little information you need to receive that will give you the audacity and the infantry to stand with your legs, because a child that's afraid to fall will never walk. And he that has brain, sense is expected. So his job was to actually dress and keep, categorize and label. He was to label. Full stop. So he gave names, write it down. He gave names to all the animals. He gave them rules. You behave like the dog, you behave like goat. He gave them names. Adam's job was to give them names. Think and talk. He gave names, he gave them rules, he gave those animals assignments. He gave them names, rules, assignment, and frame of work description. You be antelope. You be gorilla. You be a hyena. So he was the one that gave them names, rules, assignment, and a scope of frame. The boundaries they could walk. You work out like this. So Adam's work was to name. He was to give them rules, give all the animals, everything that God created, all the works of God's hand. He was responsible for naming them, giving them rules, assignment, and frame to every creature. So his job description and responsibility was to use his mind to think and talk. That was his job responsibility. So what happened is that a curse saw Adam. When a man left from the curse actually came from when a man fell from his responsibility. So he left the thinking class to the thinking class with his mind and working with his hand. So how did it happen? Genesis 2:19 to 20. I'm not a pastor anyway, but I have to do so many things here. Genesis 2:19 to 20. So let me show it to you. And out of the ground, the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens and brought them unto man, and to see what he will call them. That was what he did. He brought it to man to see what man will call them. So the man's work was to think based on description and give them names. So whatever the man called every creatures, that was the name thereof. And the man gave them names to all the cattle and to all the birds of the heaven and to every beast of the field. And for the man there was not found help for him. That was what God actually brought to man, but that is not the day. So what happened that the man was to think and talk. So the original man, the authentic man, God's dream and design for humanity was to see man name it, think and talk. Man belonged to the thinking class. Because God created man in his image and likeness. So you're supposed to be like God. To create. You also create with your mind. Connect and contribute to the life of people. That's your job. So, but people refuse to create with their mind. So therefore, they better work with their hands. And I've been telling you that the universe will never pay a man who works with his hand more than the man that works with his mind. You want to succeed in any business, get your hands from the day-to-day job of that business. Get your hand off from you want to be a good tailor, fashion designer. If your hands is on the machine, my brother, you cannot be a billionaire. You have to get your hands from the machine, train people that will be on the machine. You think and talk to them. Let them do the job. That's the only chance you have to become a millionaire. You want to be, once in a laundry business, get your hand from the washing of the clothes. Get men that will wash the clothes. Maybe they want to get customers to them for them to wash. Be in charge of thinking and communicating. That is the best way. Once your hand is involved in something, forget about it. You can only survive. Say not survive. I call it work chop. Say not work chop. Your work is your purpose on earth is not the one on chop. You have a dominion mandate. You have a calling over your life to be in charge of a domain. So you cannot be in charge. There is no governor that sweeps the government house. There is no president that sweeps the Aso Rock, the presidential villa. We actually have men work for us. Did I realize that I should not be doing certain things in my life? I change. So I only do the things that I can do to myself. Anything that I can do, someone else can do. I delegate. They not delegate. Write it down. Tell your neighbor. Anything you can do. Someone else can do it. Delegate. Tell your neighbor. Anything you cannot do. Others can do it. Outsource it. Tell your neighbor. Do the things that only you can do. And nobody can do for you. One of the things to read, nobody can read and put in your brain. One is to eat, nobody can eat for you. Nobody will just do the things that only you can do. That is the only thing you can do. So I choose to do the things that only me can do. I decide to delegate, employ people. My life changed because I realized I'm part of the thinking class. So write it down. You know, very important. In the paradise of God's intent, purpose and plan for man. In the paradise of God's intent, purpose and plan for man. In the paradise of God's intent, purpose and plan for man was that a man would take up the role, a thinking role. That was the plan. That the man should take the thinking role. That's the plan. In the paradise of God's intent, purpose and plan for man was that man should assume the thinking role, become responsible about the thinking role. That's the told Adam. Whatever you shall, that was God, Adam's work. Name the animal, dress it, and keep it. The tree will bring food for him. Everything will just come for him. But you know what happened? The following man was where the problem started from. So man's dominion mandate is to work with his mind. Write on your note. Man's dominion mandate was to work with his mind. That's what God told man, go and dominate, replenish, fill the earth. Man's dominion mandate is for man to work with his mind. Man to work with his mind. So write it down your note like this. My mind is my office, tool set and skill set. My mind is my office. My mind is my office. My mind is my office. So man was supposed to be thinking with his mind, to create with his mind. Now let me end my class because of my time. I will not have to do this ones today. Okay? The thinking class. Let me just take it off. So I've been telling us this. That if you say I'm lying to you, leave this class today. Find 10 people on your way home today. Ask them just one question. What is your purpose in this life? 99.9 people don't know their purpose. I can assure you that. Ask them, what is your goals in life? What are your dreams? They don't know. Why don't? Because they're not thinking. I've been telling you that a man, for a man to achieve his dreams, he must first wake up. Tell me, wake up.
Wake up.
Waking up doesn't mean the physical sight. It's a waking up the internal, the who he was or who he is. So if you have no goals, you are going nowhere. Tell your neighbor, you can never achieve a goal you never set.
You can never achieve a goal.
So I've been telling you that the purpose of man on earth was for man to create, tell not create. Then connect, tell not connect. Tell not contribute. Why is that important? Is because you only create with your mind, tell not mind. You create with what they call imagination. So a man has a nation that he was supposed to create. Imagination. Imagination simply means an image nation. Tell not image nation. Image nation. That is the nation that everybody should live. Before you live in a physical, it's called picture nation. Say no, picture nation. So how do you create your mind? You imagine. What do you mean to imagine? Imagination means mental arrangement of thoughts. What did I say?
Mental arrangement of thoughts.
So use your mind to mentally arrange mental arrangement of thought. Mental arrangement of thought. In a sequential order. In a sequential order. To produce a desired outcome. To produce a desired outcome. Don't mind me, I don't like to clean. I want to make reference, so I don't want to clean this. So, mental arrangement of thought in a sequential order of events. In a sequential order of an event. It's a sequential order of events. Sequential of events. To produce a desired outcome. So, man will sit down and mentally arrange his thoughts. This will happen, this will happen, this will happen. There should be a series of events that will create his outcome. So, man will sit down and say, okay, I want to build a 3-bedroom flat, a duplex. So you sit down and say, I'm going to get the land. I'm going to get a surveyor. I'm going to get an architect. I'll do this. This is the man I will do. They will start the building. They will lay the foundation. They will do this. They will deck. So also arrange all those events in his mind and begin to write it down. And then communicate it to men that will do the implementations. The surveyor will come, he pay them. You see, the world will pay you for thinking. People that think and talk gets paid the more. By tomorrow, I'm going to do something for you to understand. Never in this life for you to work with your hands and remain there. It's not bad to work with your hands, but working your hands is to be part of a process to document the processes so you can teach other people. You'll be paid more teaching than producing with your hands. I will mention so many things for you tomorrow. That great men you see, all of us, we are not doing what our staffs are doing. We don't do. I can't remember last time I sweep floor. Sweep floor. It's not a bad thing, but I don't do that. I pay people to sweep my floor. I can't remember I wash my clothes. Wash clothes. I don't do that. I pay people to wash. There are things I don't do. I don't do it. Not that it's bad. I don't do it. If you want to have 2 washing machines, have house help so that my wife will not even get himself involved. That I don't like my father coming to my house to say for a long time, my mother. The day you come to my daddy, when are you going back? You have to go back. Oh. Mommy, you have to go back. No. You have to do when you are going back. Before you stay long in my house, you think my wife is lazy. So no, there are some, she's my queen. I'm a pamper her very well. That's things she doesn't do. I tell her you cannot do it. You can't do it. It's not that it's bad. You can't try it. Forget about it. Who not like him? Make him go in house. Go ahead. Make me go in house. You know, be saying in the bad thing. So I don't get myself involved in certain things because I have to pay people to do it. They not pay. And they're happy. Pay. I cannot wash my car. Am I normal? My security, my kids, I don't wash the car. If I tell you can't wash, I know you touch. No. Who they wash car? We must pay people to wash. They not pay. And they give me joy. I just sit down, they cross my leg, they drink my wine. People are watching. Because I believe that I am a certain class. I was born broke and poor, living in face me, just struggling like every other person. But one day, something happened to me and I say, no, there's something that every rich man do. What are the books they read? I want to read the books. My eyes being to open. That we're not supposed to belong to this class. So, just like a prince who doesn't know he is, he will be trekking. The Bible says, you see the evil, slaves are on the horses. The prince are trekking. Why? They never sit down to learn. The Bible is not saying you are destroyed because of the abundance of evil, witches and wizards. It says you are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. You perish. So, but I wish I would have the time to continue my class. You are part of the thinking class. Your work is to create because you are a creator. Say, I'm a creator. I took that time to where I said, I told you that God created 3 things. Number 1, he created a creation. He said, let there be light. Created the creatures. Let the earth bring forth his kind. Let the water bring forth his kind. So it wasn't God that created the banana, pineapple. He spoke to the creation. The creation brought his kind. Banana, pineapple, all these things. So when God came to man, God did not speak to creation. He stand up and said, let us create man in our image and what? Likeness. So you are supposed to act like God. How did God do? God just sit down. He said the earth was without form, darkness was first of the deep. And that darkness was, he said the spirit was hovering on it. So that it was something like incubating, permutating, thinking, arranging, mental arrangement of thoughts. He was talking, and the Bible says, and God says, let there be what? Light. And there was, how did I know that God was thinking? He said he saw, and it was good. He called it there. That means God saw something that resonated with his mind. So God actually speak his mind, because your words are the sound of your thinking that make meaning. That is, words are sound of your thoughts. That's what it's called, words. So when you speak, I'm making a sound that expresses my thought that becomes a reality in my life. So many of us need to be part of the thinking class. You need to think and communicate. That's what the Bible told you, that with the heart you believe unto righteousness, with the mouth you speak or confess unto salvation. For a man to be saved, he must speak positively. You cannot be saying negative things and have positive life. You know if you work. Success are subjectives. So that is why the root cause of a man's circumstance, situation, experience is a result of his thinking pattern. Poverty, na mindset. Wealth, na mindset. Tomorrow, I will prove to you. Thank you so much for today's class. I wish I have the luxury of time. I have a lot of notes, but our class is 8 to 9, and most of the time, we don't like exceeding the time because we have activities to do. Tell them, I am part of the thinking class.
I am part of the thinking class.
The thinking class means that you must sit down to arrange your life. Go back home today, get a thinking chair, get a thinking corner, go and get a note. Stop using paper. Men that must live the life that they want must design their life, because you are the architect of your life. Nothing happens by accident. Success is not a product of accident. Wealth is not a product of accident. You can make money fast, but you cannot be wealthy fast. Wealth must pass through process. You must build it. Then build. And the reason for building it will give you fulfillment. It will make you significant. It will make you have a succession plan, so you can leave something for your children. Because a good man leaveth inheritance to his children. A man, there is no success without succession. There is no success without succession is not success. You must have a succession plan. Tell your neighbor, I am a success.
I am a success.
That one is begging for the charge card. Tell them, I'm a millionaire.
I'm a millionaire.
You can do better than that. Tell them, I'm a millionaire creator.
I'm a millionaire creator.
Anyway, that's the best you can take today. So the online community, don't get involved in a business without a mentor. Reason is because mentorship is a legal shortcut to success. He that stands on the shoulder of mentors will see far. See you tomorrow. See you at the top. That's the best we can take today. Have a wonderful moment.